Worf takes his prune juice extra large. We are introduced to a Vorta named Weyoun, and the Sisko tells the first that he's the first now. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the first now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we're doing a review of Deep Space Nine Season 4, To the Death, directed by Mr. LeVar Burton and written by our good friends, Mr. Ira Stephen Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolf. How are you today, Cirroc?
I'm good. I'm doing good. How you doing? Good,
thanks. You remember the part where Sisko was like, he's like, I'm the first now, or something like that? Because the Jem'Hadar was like, oh, yes, I am the first. He's like, look at me. I'm the first now. I don't know. I like that. That's fun.
This is another Avery badass episode where he's just turned all the way up on his level of badass. And
it's not going to go lower than 9 for the rest of the series. It's going to be.
Oh, this is it.
Yeah, it's not going to go any lower than 9. It's going to be at a 9, 10, or 11 throughout.
I'm good with that because there's something really good there. I enjoy watching it. I like watching him go hard and turn it all the way up.
Yeah.
There was a few moments here. There was one where he just said the word now. Where he,
and the mic got distorted. Yeah. He was like, no. And I was like, oh, poor sound guy.
Yes. You heard that.
Yeah.
I wrote that down too. I was like, wow, this guy's killing it. Because when he says now, it's like, there's no debate on when, it's like right now. And there's so much authority behind his presence and his voice and his delivery. Mm-hmm. So, when you hear that, you're like, everybody stops.
Yeah. So real quick, let's give a quick shout out to our friend Yvette Blackmon and our good buddies, the Sci-Fi Sisters. They're doing great things. We love them. We love having them on the team and on the show. Big shout out to them. They're finally starting to get a little bit of the recognition they deserve out in the ether, in the internet. So it's great to see. And we do want to always give a shout out to them because we love them and we appreciate them.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Shout out to the Sci-Fi Sisters. Holding it down from a perspective that is definitely needed more.
And, they also do fantasy, which I hadn't thought of before, but they're, they branch out all of sci-fi and fantasy, basically, all the cool nerdy stuff. I'm a big fantasy nerd, so that's cool by me.
So I have a question for you. It just popped up in my head, but you mentioned in the opening here that this was the introduction of Jeffrey Combs' Vorta character.
Yes.
And it just feels like I've seen Jeffrey Combs so much that I almost felt like, have I seen this character before as I was watching this episode? Because I am so familiar with this character. It's actually, to me, I believe, his signature character, which he shined the hardest on, if I'm not mistaken. But, you have more background on that.
A lot of people like his character on Enterprise even more. He had a character, an Andorian named Shran, who had kind of a bigger role than on Deep Space Nine. Yeah, like he was more present, maybe more episodes. And I think at least half the people like that one the most. Personally, I think it's Weyoun, hands down. Like he could hang his hat. You could hang up a career on what he did as Weyoun, in my opinion. So it's definitely Weyoun, hands down. But yeah, he's done a bunch. He was also he also played Brunt, FCA, the Ferengi liquidator tax guy, on Deep Space Nine. So we've definitely seen him in a bunch of episodes already.
Which I really loved him too, as the Ferengi IRS. He was awesome in that. Yeah. He just really delivers on all his performance. And what I think it's amazing about him is that he's able to really convey this high level of charm in any character that he plays. So even as the IRS guy, there was a level of charm there. There was a level of flair to the style and the performance that just made it so palpable, so, scrumptious to watch. And he does the same thing with Weyoun. He just gives you this really charming, like, I'm so in control of everything. I kind of know what's going on more than anyone else. This really kind of a symphony that he's kind of orchestrating. It's like the maestro orchestrating the symphony. You over there, Commander Sisko or Captain Sisko. Oh, you poor guy. I really feel for you. You have some tough decisions to make. There was a great scene there where he had to convince Sisko about joining his cause, right? And I thought that was just like that's it. That was him against the captain, right? So you're going against basically our star of the show, obviously, in my opinion, one of the finest actors there is on the planet, in Avery Brooks, and he's going heads up with him, having to convince him that we have the same mutual interest right now. At this exact moment, the two of us are in alignment with this kind of, they say nothing unites people like a mutual enemy, right?
Right.
And so I think he does a great job of kind of laying that out for us in this episode.
Yeah. Also, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, or something like that. That's another one. And he makes Sisko laugh, which is a rarity. Like now obviously when Sisko was laughing, it was more of a sarcastic laugh, like, ha ha ha, you fucking dick, that kind of thing. But it was still nice that, Weyoun, the character of Weyoun, brings that out of him. And yeah, there's just so much to talk about with this Weyoun character. For me, what was most interesting on this watch was that we now know, after speaking with Robert Hewitt Wolf and Ira Stephen Bear, that once they killed him off, they instantly regretted it. And they were like, we've got to bring him back because he was such a great actor, such a great character. We've got to figure out a way to bring him back. In sci-fi, you could do that. So watching this episode and knowing that, I was watching Weyoun specifically in all of the extra things he brought to the table to see what it was that convinced the writers and producers, oh my God, we've got to bring this guy back. And there was so much, like, you could watch every scene with that kind of thought process and think, put yourself in the writers and producers headspace. And they're watching this going, oh my God, that was so good. Ooh, I love when he does that. Oh, I hadn't thought, all these little things that he did. And I love watching it with that kind of thought process, because then you really can see it wasn't just one scene. It was like every scene, he was a politician mixed with a used car salesman, used with a handkerchief, or I don't know. It's just like, it was just amazing.
Yes. And, I think what he does very well, which we have to also credit Andy Robinson, who plays Garrick. There's a way that they deliver their lines in this really convincing way, as if they're on your side. Like, I'm on your side, like,
yes.
This benefits you. This is, I'm taking a risk by even helping you in this,
What an honorable thing to do.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like they really disguise their own intentions very well by presenting it in a very truthful way too, which makes it convincing. If it was dishonest, then, Sisko would easily be able to pick apart some kind of hustle or scheme. But he says, like, you have to do this, right? Because, that's the only way.
Yeah.
And even though it's true, we know that there's all these kinds of, intentions and other plots that are going on in the back of that character's head. But I do have to say that, watching this episode, thinking about what you talked about, knowing that the writers were going to bring him back. And I remember they played a clip of him getting shot by this Jemadar at one of the conventions we were doing. And he was like, "Oh, that was it. I thought I was done after that." Right. This is Jeffrey Combs speaking, but clearly his performance was so good. And I'm going to explain to me what I think the element that he adds in this episode. which makes him so pretty much pivotal in telling the Jemadar Dominion War story. And that was in the scene during which he kind of explained that the founders did not have such a grasp on the Jemadar as perceived, right?
Right.
I think yeah, I forgot the name, the way he phrased it, but
he basically just said like that.
Yeah.
They don't have as much of a control over the Jem'Hadar as is generally known.
Right. And to me, that makes him valuable as in the storytelling, because what he does is he becomes this kind of middle ground that is able to outline Jemadar's intentions, outline what the founders are doing, and kind of play this role of there was a good movie with Al Pacino, and it was called Donnie Brasco.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie Donnie Brasco, he's basically playing both sides, right? He's infiltrating the mafia, but he also works for the FBI, and so he's playing both sides, and that's what's interesting to watch in the movie, watching him trying to, play both sides. And to me, that's what I kind of gather from Weyoun right away. I see him in his position of saying, well, I can play both sides and find my own advantage. It was great because he offered Sisko like basically kingship, right?
Dude, totally. It's like, I will make you ruler of the entire Federation. He's like, no lieutenants, no city council members, just you.
Nobody,
You're a king.
Nobody to answer to. You're the boss. You're the man. And that, I think that's what. Didn't that make Sisko laugh a little bit? I think that made Sisko laugh. I think he was like, oh, this guy's hilarious. He's trying to sell me on. That's what he said. He said, so I guess your scouting report on me isn't as good as you say it is. If you think I'm going to fall for that,
He says, I actually had to write that quote down because it was a good one. He says, I'd say your psychographic profile of me isn't as good as you think. And they both share a laugh. They're like,
exactly. They both do share a laugh. So yeah, I mean, it's masterful. I wrote down in my notes the great Jeffrey Combs, because that's he's on a great level, and I think he just shines so hard in this episode that you're like, and that's another thing about this episode. There is a lot of dialogue explaining what's happening, right? So I was also thinking about how Ira and Robert Wolf were, kind of trying to tell us this story, right? They have this story. They want the Jemadar. They want to bring in an attack on DS9, which, by the way, I didn't think they spent enough time kind of mourning the 31 people that got killed.
They're like, it was one line. It was half a line. They're like, oh, 31 dead. They're like, yeah. But where did they go?
That's exactly. I was like, what's going on here?
They're like, everybody important is here right now. So whatever.
Right. I didn't even hear like, all right, well, like, can we get an invite? Who are those people? It could have been anybody, right? Could have been Jake. Could have been
Keiko. Yeah.
Keiko, right? Could have been anybody, right? So they're like, yeah, 31 people. All right, so get the Defiant ready. And are there any ion tracings that we can, so that I just thought it was just not enough. 18 dead, 31 missing, 100 wounded. I was like, okay, that's a real.
Yeah.
That's a real
At least
attack.
he could have been like anybody important. And they would have been like, well, Quark. He's like, okay, so no.
All right. Exactly. They could have played that one. They could have played that. But then I also thought, wow, that's a lot of casualty for stealing like some equipment, right? Like they just basically stole some equipment that they can use for this gateway, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Well, I guess the Jem'Hadar are warriors more than they are thieves. So they're not the kind of people that are going to do like a covert mission and go, they're just going to like blow shit up, take what they want, be like, I'll be back here same time tomorrow to take your lunch money again. So don't tell anybody.
Yeah, they don't do the SEAL Team 6 like in the middle of the night stealth thing. They come in with like Rambo blowing stuff up. But so I was thinking about how they were writing this. Okay, so we want an attack on DS9. Sisko looking out of the window and seeing, the ship kind of burning or whatever. I thought that was kind of poignant. Also did like the graphics of the Defiant kind of pulling away, going to chase down these guys. Yeah. It was dramatic, but most of the time I was thinking about the dialogue, because there were a lot of scenes in which people had to explain what was going on, right? How many people are here? What are we going to face? Just a lot of back and forth about just giving us more detail and background information. I thought it was really a good episode.
Yeah. And I hadn't really thought of the dialogue too much in this because I had my own things I was specifically watching for. But it does make me wonder if between Ira and Robert, one of them is more of the dialogue person and one is more like the overarching story person, or if they just kind of like share it or bounce ideas off each other or take turns. I do wonder that. We'll have to ask one of them when they come back. But the dialogue is, it's always great. It's always good. These guys know the characters very well. Dax had some good lines when she's like, how long you just going to stare at me for 2 hours? They gave Julian thing is sometimes they give a good line, but then the actor makes it feel like a great line. Like when Julian says to Worf, when Worf's when Worf is just staring at him in his seat, he doesn't say, he's just like, like, are you gonna, do we have a problem here? What's going on? I can stand here as long as you can sit there. And then Julian's line is, have a seat, Commander. And I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like this was a directing choice by LeVar, was when he said, have a seat, Commander. See, I would have thought that it would be like, not really a submissive way, but a friendly, like, have a seat, Commander. Here, okay, I get it. Have a seat, Commander. But the way it ended up being delivered was a little bit challenging and playful. Like, he's like, have a seat, Commander. And then we're thinking, is he telling him to sit down over there or over here? And then he pauses for a second and kind of gives a smile and then gets up and says, okay, you can have my seat. Kind of like lets him think for a second, does he mean in my seat or is he telling me, and then he kind of coyly pulls away. And I felt like that was a director's choice, but I don't know. But anyway, I like that part. That was really cool because it was unexpected for me,
I liked the critique on that scene. I thought it was excellent, Ryan. That is exactly how I felt that moment play out. That extra pause of drama, that dramatic pause
totally
made the scene worthy, and that I want to credit, whether it was written or not, I want to credit Bashir, aka Alexander Siddig, for the way he delivered that, because he delivered it right on point as far as just keeping the tension there just long enough. The other thing I want to say was just before that line, I think Dax was talking about how she at one point wasn't able to sleep for 2 weeks because of the baby being up. And O'Brien says 2 weeks, it's been 2 months. And the way he says that to me is just like a real, that's authentic too. That's like so legit. It's like, because when you're a new parent or you have a newborn and you're struggling with sleep, you're counting the days, and you know exactly how long it's been, because that's how long the baby is, how old the baby is.
Yeah.
So when he said that, I just felt like, oh man, that's exactly what I can picture myself saying when somebody was telling me, I haven't slept for 2 weeks. I haven't slept for 2 months, man. This baby's killing me.
Yeah, and O'Brien is always good at delivering the tortured man, the tortured everyday guy, because he's kind of grumpy, he's kind of ornery, he's kind of just the regular dude. He's not trying, when he says, I'm very much alive and I intend to stay that way. Like, he's just like, I don't know all this other crazy stuff. I'm just a dude. I got a wife and kids. I want to drink beer and go on the holodeck. I don't want to die. I don't have a death wish. I just want to, if somebody points a gun at me, I'm going to run. Unless I got a rock in front of me, then I'm going to shoot him. And then I'm going to go.
Yeah. He's just like the salt of the earth kind of a guy. He's like the, the blue collar guy who's just like, got the wife and kid at home. He's not here for any extras. When the clock clocks out, I'm out of here. I just really like his performance because it is so natural and he's so good at, just like you said, the grumpy guy. Actually, when you were describing that, it made me think of the Smurfs, and he would be like one of these Smurfs, the grumpy Smurf that's always like.
There was a character named Grumpy Smurf.
Yeah. And he would be essentially, he's the real life version of the grumpy Smurf.
You know who my favorite Smurf was? It was Jokey Smurf. He was the guy that would have like the presents that would blow up, and they'd be like, "What is it?" He'd go, "It's a surprise." I don't know why. I just always thought that. I'm like, why do these idiots keep falling for the same stupid thing? Man?
The same thing. No, it's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
No, wait.
Yeah.
It wasn't Grumpy. It was Grouchy Smurf.
Was it Grouchy?
Yeah, Grumpy was a gummy bear. Everybody at home knows Grumpy was the gummy bear and Grouchy was the Smurf. Glad we got that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm very glad.
What a save. So we just have a couple minutes here before we go into the break. Any final thoughts on Weyoun? Because I feel like we could talk about him forever, but then we can move on to the other stuff on the other side.
Yeah. I found the line that I was talking about with Weyoun. It was, he mentioned, he said the founders overstated the white. And just the concept of the white in general, I thought, first of all, I can't think of the white without think of like drugs in general, but a white kind of drug.
White lines.
Yeah. So you think about that and you're like, oh, wow, that's a crazy parallel, right? Break out the white. And you also think about addiction and how tragic addiction is, and so I thought about just like how these Jemadar are really kind of in a lose-lose situation, just by not only by their genetic makeup, because they're obviously like created, like I think they mentioned something about laboratory creations,
right?
So and then also then having the disposition of being addicted to this substance, it's like it was kind of hurt me a little bit, because I know there's a lot of people really suffering from addiction out here and having to deal with that kind of thing. And it was like when it was time for them to get their dosage and how they ran up on Weyoun, like, it's time, like, like we need that.
He's like, I'm eating. They're like, nah, you put that sandwich down.
Yeah. We need this now.
So we do have to jump to our break super quick. Sorry, we could just finish it up on the other side here. Yeah. But yeah, they're born and bred. Not only are they addicted, they were created to be addicted, which is the worst kind of tragedy. Okay, so we'll take a super quick break and we'll be right back on the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Seventh Rule of Cirroc Lofton. We are doing a review of Deep Space Nine's Season 4 to the Death. We just have a couple more episodes before we reach the end of the season. Very quickly, the trivioids. Here they come, fast and furious. Weyoun's first day. That's not really a trivioid, kind of. I think we covered that. Sisko says, I'd say your psychographic profile of me isn't as good as you think. After driving away the Breen privateers from the Bajoran colony of Freehaven, the Defiant is returning to DS9. Worf takes his prune juice extra large. Sisko tells the First that he's the First now. A Jem'Hadar stares at Dax for 2 hours. Weyoun lives to serve Odo. Dax says Chief O'Brien will live to be 140. And we're introduced to a Vorta named Weyoun, which is kind of the same as the first one. But anyway, yeah, let's finish up where we were. Sorry, I cut you off there about the Jem'Hadar and their addiction. And what a freaking rude thing to create an entire race that fights at the age of 3, or 3 days, I should say, and is born to be addicted and then dies by, before they're 20.
Yeah, it's just like it's a crazy tragedy when you watch how they're being essentially manipulated and used, and they really don't have control over whether they're going to be manipulated or used. This is just who they have been bred to be. I thought it was interesting too when we kind of got into how they're culturally how they don't eat. I think Dax was kind of going back and forth, like, so you don't eat, you don't sleep, and there's no women. And no wonder women. You guys. She's like, no wonder you guys want to fight all the
time. That's kind of like their prune juice moment, when somebody says, all right, Worf, you seem grumpy, have some prune juice. Dax is probably like, maybe you guys need some ladies, I don't know, or some food or some naps or something.
Well, it's funny because I mean, if me or you were under those conditions, I bet you we'd be wanting to fight all the time too. If I didn't eat, sleep, or have any women around me,
I'd be hangry.
Hella hangry, yeah. So I kind of felt for that. I was like, man, that hurts a little bit. Not even prune juice, huh? But I do kind of want to see a showdown between the Jem'Hadar, like a nice boxing match or something, like a UFC fight.
We did get to see some Jem'Hadar fighting, and it wasn't all it was billed up to be. We'll definitely get to see more of it. But what would be cool is the Klingons versus the Jem'Hadar, because when the Jem'Hadar were fighting each other, I'm like, I don't know which one's the good guys and which one's the bad guy. It's just a bunch of, and I don't know how the Federation people knew either. They're like, wait, they kill somebody, and they're like, dude, same team, man. What are you doing? He's like, I don't know. You all look the same.
And that was a huge problem I had with this episode too. That right there. It would seem to me that if they were going to be going there to fight, unless they were trying to infiltrate them and dress like them and infiltrate and then surprise attack them as if, we're with you, but we're not with you, then it would make sense that they would be dressed exactly like them. But to me, they would, for the sake of the crew fighting alongside them, they should have some kind of signifier or armband tied around their arm, some color signifier,
anything,
or even the weapon they hold maybe being different colors, like it's a gold color one instead of a silver one or something.
Give them a blue hat.
anything, some elf shoes, just something to differentiate, because I too was confused. I was like, who's fighting who's on whose side? Must be confusing also for the Jem'Hadar to fight each other, because how do they know who to fight? But for me, I'm like, they all look the same. So how do you determine, who's the guy you came here with and who's on the other side? And I also thought that it was kind of a little bit unrealistic for the sense that they hyped the Jem'Hadar to be such good fighters. They were so outnumbered, 150 to like 10, like 15 to 1.
Yeah.
You're outnumbered 15 to 1. It's just like, and against the greatest fighters that are born and bred to fight since the day they're born. It just doesn't make sense to me that it would be that easy. If they had lowered the numbers and said, look, there's only 5 of them, but there's 10 of us, we can get them, or something like that, then that would make more sense to me.
Yeah. Or if they're even, but we got Dax. So yeah, and Odo, we finally got to see Odo do his fighting skills for like 1 second that you've always mentioned. Like, why doesn't he? And so, but what I didn't get was, why did they carry Odo in a handbag or whatever
when
it
he
was?
could fight that well? Yeah,
they were trying to protect him or something. Like the Jem'Hadar might have pulled away or something, but they're like, okay, it's time, Odo. You're safe. You can come out now. And then he comes out. He's like, I can beat them all up. And he does his tentacle thing. So I didn't I'm sure there's a reason for it, but it escaped me. I didn't catch it.
I think that the writers would ask for that one back if they had a chance, because that was a little bit not well explained. I think for one, Odo is a founder, so you would think that just even his presence as a founder would shock them at the very least. So there would be no need for them to like disguise himself, right? And if he has a power to like punch 20 guys at the same time, he'd be the guy I send in. Forget all the rest of us.
Yeah.
You go in there, take care of the 150 guys, and we'll come in later and plant the bomb when you're done. Because they can't really kill you. So it just that was weird to me that they would hide him as a duffel bag, and then at the last moment he comes in and knocks out 3 guys. It was a little bit strange.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a reason for it that we missed, but yeah, we could definitely try to dig to the bottom of that. Because yeah, you could just tell Odo, just be like, okay, Odo, go become an elephant real quick. just trample everybody, swing your trunk around and go nuts.
Yeah.
Or sorry, I mean an Alvorian elephant.
An Alvorian
space elephant walrus.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that kind of didn't make sense to me, but I mean I let it go. Obviously, there's just things that you have to let go, because you can't just hold on to these things all the time and try to find all the scientific evidence of why it shouldn't be true. But it didn't really make full sense to me that Odo was disguised as a bag. So the other thing that I thought was interesting, I wrote down, I don't know if you kind of caught this, but when O'Brien says, "I'm alive and I intend to stay that way," after the other "victory is life," toast, which is crazy because there's so much truth. Victory is life. In some way that is true, right? Because each day that we have victory over breathing and whatever we have victory over, that's our life. We have to be alive. It actually is life. So when you are alive, you are winning in some type of way or another, right? Because you're winning in life. But after O'Brien said, "I'm alive and I intend to stay that way," Sisko says, "Amen," and then they roll out.
I actually had to rewind that. I was like, did he say "amen" or did he go like "oh man" or what? But no, it said "amen." Yeah.
And I don't know if there's ever a time before this, because I can't remember it, where "amen" was said, or "amen, amen." Which is really interesting to me because it's almost revealing that Sisko has these Christian roots, right? Or Judeo-Christian roots. Because that's where the origin of the word.
Right.
Maybe. Right? Possibly.
But it's also common vernacular of saying, like amen, I agree with that. But yeah, of course he could have said other things and he chose that. And so that does show something.
And then it made me wonder, was that written or not? Did he get away with just sliding that in there? Because I just don't know that they would write that. Because
that's a great point.
You know what I mean? I would think that they would stay away from kind of any religious nomenclature. So it made me just rewind it. And I said, did he say amen? When I realized that he did, and even the subtitle said amen, I was like, okay, so... Mm-hmm. He said it.
Oh, you use the subtitles now. You're using my trick. Because I had to check the subtitles too, because I was like, did he say amen? I was like, no, let me make sure. But yeah, I checked it too.
And we've had moments where they've had toasts, we've had dinners, we've had parties. I think there's been a wedding or something. I never heard a moment where after they make a toast, and I heard the word amen. So I just had to make reference of it. Really interested and curious to know. That would be my big question for Robert Wolf is, did you write that into the script, just like you were asking about, the the pause that Bashir had when he was kind of asking Worf to sit down and take a seat. I was curious about that Ahmed.
You know, that reminds me, when you said that, just real quick, you know how you can find Will Smith hiding in the snow?
No.
You look for the Fresh Prince.
Oh, gosh. All right, man. Okay.
All right, man.
All right. I don't know how you segued over from Ahmed.
You want to know? No, it's because you said pause. And when you said pause, I thought, well, that could also be PAWS. And then it made me think of Paw Prince. And then it went to, anyway, that's where it went. That's how it happened. Sorry, that's how it happened.
That's how your mind works, ladies and gentlemen.
It always,
segment of that.
Every word can mean a million different things. And so when people are saying words, my brain's always like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? And you're just like, can you just pay attention, dude? And I'm like, yeah, but there's a joke to be said.
Yeah, now I know why you choose certain words in your vocabulary. Now I know why you said an elephant and his swing his trunk and go nuts.
And go nuts.
So now I realize why you choose certain words.
I just meant because
a whole bunch of things.
I just meant because he could hurt them with his tusks.
How awkward was the conversation between Odo and Weyoun? I thought that was another real awkward kind of moment there.
Yeah, they handle that dynamic better in future episodes, if I remember correctly, because they're still kind of fleshing out the changelings / founders and the Vorta and the Jem'Hadar. Like, what was it? There was something in this episode that where the Jem'Hadar or Weyoun that said or did something that I thought was a little inconsistent with what I remember them being in subsequent episodes. But that's just because, you know, they're writing these episodes, they're fleshing out the aliens and the characters, and when it's done and they're rewatching it or they're watching the dailies or whatever it is, it starts to kind of have a life of its own where they go, ooh, that was really good, or that didn't work or whatever. And they start kind of adjusting things accordingly, you know? So I think, was this the first time we saw a Vorta talking to Odo? I don't think so. I feel like we did have a Vorta talking to Odo once before, but so it definitely becomes a really good dynamic of Vorta and founders, or Weyoun and Odo. So I didn't pay too much attention to it. I think I was writing down other notes, but I do remember thinking like, oh, this is going to develop. You know, it definitely develops, and this was like the first scene we see it in.
Yeah, and you know what I noticed is Odo is consistent, so he doesn't change in this scene. He's still Odo. He's grumpy. He doesn't want to talk about it,
even though he's married now.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to talk about it, and he's just like, end this conversation right now. I think he said something like, aren't you supposed to do what I say? So like, won't you leave him? I tell you to leave.
Go walk out an airlock just to see what happens.
And then Weyoun is like, yes, no, but before you, wish me away. What I was going to say though is that another small adjustment that you see Jeffrey Combs make when talking with Odo is this subservient kind of approach, right? Where he's, he's subservient to the founders, and you can see him switch up his tone, his conversational skills as Weyoun when he's talking to Odo, as opposed to when he's talking to Sisko or to the Jem'Hadar. He's always kind of he feels superior, right? And in the moments when he's talking to Odo, you can see he drops that superiority complex and kind of humbles himself to, like,
almost sniveling.
Almost sniveling, yeah. So it's just a good performance, I think. Just as, I mean, other actors could just sometimes not make those conscious choices to do that, and you would say, well, why is he acting like that around the founders if he's supposed to be? But Combs made those adjustments.
Yeah. I also noticed that Kira had just a couple lines, so it was a nice week off for her, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Who else? Quark, we didn't see at all.
No, we saw him. Yeah.
Did we?
He comes in. He's like, "Where's my brother Rom? Where's Rom?" In the beginning, he's looking for Rom. He's in the madness of the station, and somebody says, "Oh, Rom's over there," and he's like, "Oh, good, because I want to kill him."
You're so right. That's a Nam for Rom. Yes. I missed that.
Yes.
Good catch. That is very true. A Nam for good old Rom. Everybody at home, a NAM is a non-appearance mention. We like to keep track of when characters are mentioned or named or talked about, and their storyline continues even if they're not on the episode. For example, Shakar was only in 3 episodes, but he's talked about in a few more, so it really fills out his story. Very quickly, that means Rom and Nog are now tied for first place with the most NAMs. They both have 10. Keiko has 8. Jaco has 8. Molly and Cousin Gayla have 5, and then a bunch of other people are lower than that. Grand Negus Sec has 4. Anyway,
yeah, I was supposed to have one in this episode, by the way. At some point, Sisko was supposed to just ask, "Is Jake all right?"
That's what I would have expected.
Right? I mean, maybe it happened off camera at some point, but you would think when he gets the casualty list and he gets the damage report that he'd want to know if Jake's all right. Yeah,
first and foremost, yeah.
So interestingly enough, they didn't hit that note, but it was a lost opportunity.
Maybe Jake sent him a text. He was like, "I'm good, Dad." He's like, "Okay, I'm out. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
You good?
Cool. Me, Molly, and Keiko are good. So he knows. Yeah. No, I don't know, but when Weyoun got shot at the end of this, it was so brief. It was the lead up to it was so quick that I didn't really expect it. I know you expected. I didn't expect it. I was just like, okay, mission accomplished. He shows up at the end, and he says something to the effect of, "I'd like to inspect the wreckage." Like, prove it to me, right? And that's when he gets zapped away really quickly by the Jemadar played by Clarence Williams III.
Yes, I wanted to bring that up. Yeah.
And I just want to give a shout out to Clarence Williams III. I know Ira often refers to him as the guy from Mod Squad. And so he has a special place in his heart for Clarence Williams III from his performance as Mod Squad on Mod Squad. But I just want to say, I know him because I wasn't around to watch Mod Squad as a television show. I know him from the movie Deep Cover. Okay,
I think I know that one.
Yeah, Deep Cover is an old school movie with Lawrence Fishburne, and he's infiltrating like this drug operation. It's one of those same kind of movies back in those days. They were making all these infiltration, drug movies. And Deep Cover, I believe, also had Wesley Snipes in it, but it was starring Lawrence Fishburne. And I really love that movie. And Clarence Williams III is in the movie, and he's all over this one character. And he has a line in the movie that you'll just never forget. He says, "I'm going to be all over you like stink on doo-doo." When you hear that line and you hear a really good actor saying it, and you're thinking like, did they really write that for this guy? But
doo-doo,
stink on doo-doo. And so I'll never forget that line. It's like I rewound that line 100,000 times. We used to joke with each other, growing up as kids, because that movie came out in '92. So that would be one of the things we'd say, amongst each other to friends. I'm going to be all over you like stink on so we use that line a lot, just for the record. And also, he's in the movie Half Baked with Dave Chappelle, and he played Samson.
No way, he was Samson. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Oh man, Samson. That is a very quotable movie, man. Dave Chappelle's coming out party, practically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Or for some of us, playing pinball, I believe it was in Con Air, was his first big role where I noticed him. But definitely then he was the lead in Half Baked, and that was just brilliant movie. Love it.
Right near the beach, boy.
Right near the beach. I love budding stuff. Buttercup, butternuts, buttercup. I don't know.
Oh man, that movie has a bunch of classic lines in it. He's also in his most recent thing that I remember seeing him in was American Gangster with Denzel Washington. He played Bumpy Johnson.
Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, who was a famous real life drug lord.
Named Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, real life drug lord in Harlem back in, I want to say 50s, 60s in that time.
And now he's a drug lord named First Ometaclon. Actually, I was looking him up yesterday, looking at all the other stuff that he's done, because I saw him flash at the bottom. It said, and I was like, whoa, I didn't realize that. And so I checked out on his IMDb and stuff, because I know all about him. And it showed that he had 99 credits. So I'm like, oh, this is exciting. If you got 99 credits as an actor and you're just waiting for that one more.
Yeah.
But then also there was another name that I recognized, Brian Thompson. Now, Brian Thompson, I know him from previous Star Trek movies and series. Like, he's been around. I think he's been a Klingon. I feel like he's been like a Romulan commander. He was also an alien in maybe Star Trek Generations. But so, shout out to him as well. He was the guy that fought with Worf. He's a big goon. He plays a big thug. He was also in the Orville. I'm looking him up now. What were his exact roles? He was Admiral Valdor in Enterprise. I think that was the Romulan guy for a few episodes. But what were the other ones? Okay, so in Deep Space Nine, he was in Glatu, which was a character from in the Rules of Acquisition. And I feel like there was one more thing that he did in Star Trek. But anyway, so shout out to him. That was cool. When I saw his name flash at the bottom, I was like, oh shit, him too. He's definitely been around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here at his resume. He's done a ton of things, I see the Terminator back in 1984. So it's like he started off real young. But he's also in Alienation, our guys over at
No
Alienation.
way. I didn't check
that. He was in Alienation. And it says he was in the X-Files. So the guy's been around, and he has that face that you just, when you see him, you're like, I know that guy. Where do I know that guy? It's one of those.
Well, we can't, if we're going to mention those, we can't not mention that he was also in, you saw the Terminator, Hardcastle and McCormick. That I don't know what that show, I don't know what that show's about, but I've always heard the name and thought it was just such a perfect name for buddy cop, or it just sounds so silly. But he was in Knight Rider. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Knight Rider. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we all watched these shows growing up, but he actually has that face that you're like, I know I've seen him. What movie was it in? So, yeah, I mean, the really good acting in this. He played one of the Jem'Hadar. Is that right?
Right. He was the one that got into a fight with Worf and then got killed.
Yeah. Just really, really great acting. And Clarence Williams III, going back to him, that look that he gave to Sisko sees him shoot Weyoun, and the line he delivers was just so perfect right there. He says, that was for questioning our loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. It was just like it basically was a message to Sisko, like, you see, I don't just, I'm not bullshitting. I will kill you, but I'm not killing you now because you saved my life a little bit earlier, right? They kind of had that exchange a little bit earlier in that scene.
Had an understanding.
Yeah.
Well, we only have a minute left here. Oh, that means it's my turn.
Uh-oh.
So, real quick, let's see what happens here. I put it on and just see what happens.
Oh, let's see.
If the Jem'Hadar killed the Vorta, who the heck is going to open up the case of white for them?
Very, very good.
Because remember, they couldn't open it themselves. The whole point was it was voice activated and handprint activated, and they killed the Vorta, and they take the case, and they're like, he won't be needing this anymore. And they walk off, and you're like, well, you don't have the key though, dude. He's vaporized. Now they're just gonna be like clawing at it, like tweaking out. They're like, oh my god, I need it. They're gonna be like pawing and I'm biting it.
I'm sure they'll figure a way out in there. They'll figure a way in that box. But my pet peeve of this particular episode was I felt like they should have ended this episode on a returning back to the station and a somber kind of funeral type moment for the people that were lost in the attack.
Good point. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is like the 9/11 moment for DS9, right? Where we literally just got attacked and
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would think that they would pay homage a little bit harder.
All right, so we are going to switch to the free-for-all in just a moment here. We'll probably talk about this episode a little bit more because there's so much to talk about. Before we go, I do want to give a very special thanks, and by I mean we, a very special thanks to Carmen Shamwell, PJ Tomas, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Nebraska. Nah, it's Missouri. Everybody knows. Bill Victor Arucan. Yvette Blackmon, Homer Frizzell, Eve England out in Wales, Dr. Marie Segal, Dr. Susan V. Gruner, Titus Mohler, Tim Baum, Robert Hoffman, and Darlena Marie. Special thanks to all of them. We will catch you on the other side. Oh, shoot. Jake Sisko guesses the IMDb score.
Beginning, let's say, I'm going to go with a 7-2. Maybe slightly higher at a 7.4, but 7.2.
Well, the fans disagree with you. They gave it an 8.2 because I think it was because it was a big reveal into what the Jem'Hadar are like and the introduction of Weyoun. But we'll talk about it on the other side. Stay tuned for the free for all. Always keep your ears open. Always remember the 7th rule. And I don't know. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to the 7th rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
This is the free-for-all. Joining us today, Dr. Susan V. Gruner with the best hair in the house. We have TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri. We have Scott Jensen fighting tornadoes right now in South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
That's Pecos Field.
We have Malissa Longo classing up the joint. Homer Frizzell letting us know if our jokes are good or head-shaking worthy. And Dr. Marie Segal bringing in the sass.
Bringing in the sass.
Back that sass up.
Oh, God. All right.
So we just found out right before we hit record that people are wearing some pretty awesome shirts right now. Let's first start off with Scott Jensen, who has his very first free-for-all with us. Scott, show us your awesome shirt. Wait, hang on. Hold it up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Virtual TrekCon.
I couldn't see it before. Yes.
Yeah.
by Scotty Baker
I could stand
himself.
up, but I don't know if I can sit back down quickly. So.
Yeah,
I don't know
designed
if
by
you guys
Scott
remember
Baker.
that. You remember that event? That was pretty fun.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a great
Pretty
time.
fun.
Oh yeah.
2020 highlight.
2020 highlight
was.
put on by this team
Probably-
right here.
Ooh.
Also, Dr. Susan V. Gruner is wearing an awesome shirt as well. Made by who?
Not sure.
The shops at Ryza. I think
Yeah, I got
it's
it. The shops at Ryza.
And they have another one, which is, it's tied as my other favorite, which is Ponfar in the City. And it's made like Sex in the City. It's amazing. On like a black shirt with hot pink letters. It's amazing.
That's funny.
I have to get it.
Melissa's wearing the awesome Be Kind shirt by Pop Hero Coalition. Can be found at bekindmerch.org, if I remember correctly. Chase's
so.
team.
Chase.
And Homer is wearing a Chat Pack shirt. Hey, Zip.
Hello, Chat
Zing.
Pack.
Woo.
That's all of us,
Ooh,
I'm also wearing Malissa.
may I see that?
right? That's where you get, you can get it at
Very nice.
walkingartmadebymelissa.com. We include that in the description box below. Anne-Marie, are you wearing something too?
I am. I'm always like sitting cross-legged when you ask me. Let me get up. I'm wearing a
Oh,
Chat Pack
nice.
t-shirt from the 7th Rule.
JR
Like
Poole.
that.
Oh, nice.
Also, a bracelet cuff from Walking Art made by Melissa, which I love.
Oh, that's right. And Sue, you're also wearing bracelets, yeah?
This one is by Melissa.
Pretty. Oh, I love that one.
Oh, that's nice.
Very.
Custom made just for Sue.
So the ones that are walkingartmadebymelissa.com are in the description box below. The shirts that are being worn by Scott and Anne-Marie can be found on the teespring.com/the 7th rule. That is also in the description box below. Let's talk about Star Trek.
Wait, with discounts if you're a Patreon.
Yes, if you are a patron on Patreon of the 7th rule, you get all kinds of discounts, by the way.
Goodness.
If
No,
you're one of the cool kids.
Do you customize your neck on your shirt, or is it how it comes?
They're all like slouchy sweatshirts, which I need Ryan to put Scott's in slouchy sweatshirt form so I can get an 8th.
Wait,
Love them.
what? The virtual
one.
Trekcon?
I thought we had
Okay.
a deal where every design was required to be in slouchy sweatshirt form for me, but
Oh.
Oh, for you. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, so
Yeah.
sorry, Cirroc. We didn't get the memo.
Yeah. I just now we're,
Delivered.
That's why I asked.
Delivered.
I'm
It
so
said red.
embarrassed.
Yep.
it said it was
I
red.
wanted to be inclusive.
Oh,
That's
wait,
why I asked.
really fast. Like, did you see what's on Scott Jensen's wall behind him?
Yeah, I'm done. I
Dave?
really want to know what band that is behind you.
Right behind me.
I saw
Yes.
Ira.
Oh, Ira's over there. Yeah.
for The documentary
he's-
we
there's-
left
Yeah.
behind.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Good knowledge. Good eye.
Where's Ira?
He's right over here. It's the What Was Left Behind poster they gave out in the screenings. Yeah, that was an excellent night.
That's such a great
Got to get
frame.
out there and see that right before the world ended. You know, the last time we got to watch that in the theater. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Homer's got the look of a man who's got something to say about this episode. There's something poignant, pivotal to the series, and or interesting that he'd like to mention right now.
Sure. I thought it was a great episode as far as getting a feel for the Jem'Hadar, what they were all about, that they're not completely under the thumb of Weyoun and his ilk. We got to meet Weyoun, and you can see that he's kind of like this diplomat wheeler dealer who's doing the bidding of his masters but still has some sort of agenda. And no spoiler here, but we lost this Weyoun, whatever Weyoun number it was,
Yeah, I was
whether it was
gonna say,
number
what Weyoun
4
is
or
this?
5 or something like that. I know how another one, well, I don't want to spoil it for Cirroc. I really liked a lot of Dax's lines in this one, where she is talking to the Jem'Hadar, and they're eating food and they're talking. Well, he's not eating food; he just needs the Ketracel light, but she is, and they're talking about how old the Jem'Hadar is, and they're ready to fight at 3 days old. And if someone is 20, they're like an elder and very, very honored, as though they're like celebrated people have just achieved this magical thing. And then at the end, of course, they're both fighting together, and so I like the way that they kind of bookended that. I don't know as I could say relationship, but it was a lot of fun to see, and I enjoyed Dax a lot in this one. And Sisko was tough too. I like that. I mean, he had to counter tough with tough.
Yeah.
And
I had said to the Jem'Hadar, and when she was eating, no women, no sleep, no
exactly.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No fun.
Yeah, exactly.
That would cause me to be pretty angry too.
It's like,
That's why victory's life. That's all that's left.
That's all
20 years of that.
That's all you got left now.
That's it. Ran out of options.
I don't know. Let's fight.
We gotta fight. We gotta fight. That's all we gotta do.
Who is it in the live
Medallion.
chats? Is Medallion?
Yep.
They created "Victory is like." And that's brilliant to remind everybody to like the video, to give us a like.
The best.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
pretty smart.
Victory is like.
That can be a shirt
wait,
too.
But actually,
Yeah.
I have to say this week, Scott Jensen came up with one that I really liked.
What was it?
The like has been cast.
Oh yes,
Cast by, like, across the Dabo wheel. Yeah, spinning on the Dabo
the
wheel.
like is cast.
Dabo.
Well, because there's the episode, the dice
Exactly.
cast.
I
Dice
love
cast.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a great episode too.
I screenshot every hilarious like.
I gotta start thinking about it
And
beforehand
then
too.
I
now.
favorite them so I can find them easily.
That can be a shirt too. Just all these screenshots of funny things.
Oh man, that'd be great. Oh man.
And then me underneath being like, LOL. Yeah.
Well, does anybody else have any thoughts on this episode? Otherwise, we do have a question in the bank here. TJ usually has something, but he's feeling sleepy today. What did you say?
Yeah.
No,
I was thinking
I
about
thought this-
Clarence Williams III too.
Mm-hmm.
I
Big
grew
shout out,
up
big
with Mod
honors.
Squad, showing my
Thanks to
age.
Grew up
Burton.
watching that. Yep.
Cirroc, you mentioned the Mod Squad just right before we did the free-for-all, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I know Clarence Williams from that movie Deep Cover that he did with Lawrence Fishburne back in the day. I don't know if you ever saw that, but he had a stand.
Day. Okay, Cirroc, which day are we talking about?
The day of 1996. 1996 day.
Oh my
It was Wednesday.
That day, you know.
That day.
Were they dinosaurs then? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was just, back in those days when early films. But no, I remember him from that movie, and he was pretty awesome in that. He had a line in there where he says, "I'm going to be all over you like stink on doo-doo." So I never forgot that line.
People don't talk like that enough anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not enough doo-doo talk.
Not enough doo-doo talk. Nope.
That's another hashtag. We could just, let's more doo-doo. Less don't.
Yeah, do
don't.
more.
Do more.
Do.
See what happens, TJ, when you're not so actively engaged? Things go further
See,
down.
TJ. It goes
Yeah. So
Right
about that, I thought the scene between Weyoun and Odo in the corridor was good, very well. I mean, obviously we already know Jeffrey Combs at this point, but seeing him as Weyoun and starting to get a feel for that character, I thought that scene in particular was a good showcase of Jeffrey Combs as Weyoun, but also thought that so much feeling came through. I mean, we know he's a what's the slick guy,
He's a used car salesman.
He's a used car salesman. He's gonna sell you a lemon. But I thought that he seemed very genuine when he was telling Noto, "Look, man, you need to come home. Like they still love you, man. They love you." And I just thought it was the coldest thing when Noto said, "Well, I don't love them." And by the way, let's go ahead and end this conversation.
Yeah, he's like they don't love me. They just love my. Never mind.
They just want you for your goo, man.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that didn't.
Melissa, your
age
thoughts
well
on that?
at all?
Pretty gooey.
Save me, Melissa. What's better than doo doo?
Yeah, well. Oh man,
that's a
so
bar.
We're gonna need Odo's bucket
scraping
here
on the ground.
Okay, we have the bar set really low.
What's the question, Ryan?
All right, you're right. All right, this is my fault. Okay. And
but I would say this really quickly though before you go in there, Ryan. Weyoun kind of is a little bit like Quark in some type of ways, where he's like this politician trying to sell you on something. He does a little bit of a Quark in there. He uses the charm when he needs to. I can see some similarities there. Not exactly, but there's some characteristic types that they have that I think are similar.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the empathy that Quark has.
Yeah, it's not there.
Good point.
Right.
Or the clothes.
They didn't put it
Or
in
the clothes.
Did we ever see a mirror Weyoun? I don't think we did we? Because what would Weyoun be like if he wasn't under the grip of the founders and he could use that conniving, charisma on his own?
But would he have been cloned?
Would he even have existed? Yeah.
Exactly.
Goes back to we had another Jake Sisko problem. Can't have him in the mirror universe either. Terrible.
Well, that alternate universe.
There's many mirrors.
Too many of them. Yeah.
No one person.
You tell them, Melissa.
All right. So here's the question, because it's all on the same subject, by the way. It is on the subject of Vortas. Which actor? Which actor do you think would make a great Vorta that's never been a Vorta?
You want us to say Ryan T. Husk?
No, but that would be fun. But no.
Are you limiting the question to Star Trek?
You know what? Actually, I can see that. I can totally see it.
Yeah, I could poof my hair on.
Cat Pack always says that.
I think we should all be Vortas. Let's just go there.
Let's see. Homer, do you have one?
No, I'm still thinking.
Melissa?
Melissa.
Great answer. I love it.
No,
it's a toughie.
But you say Ryan, and then I'll say Melissa.
Okay, Ryan.
And then my answer is Melissa.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll give an answer. I was thinking like maybe Brad Dourif, who he did play Crewman Suitor, right? So it might not necessarily fit as Crewman Suitor, but if you think of him as Grima Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings, that was very close. Yeah. That was like a sinister kind of Vorta.
But you should see him in Babylon 5. My head is like exploding.
Oh, really?
A few months ago.
Wow.
He's amazing.
So I think he would be a good one.
Too,
you should watch him on the X-Files too.
I would rather die.
I do. Okay.
What?
That was extreme, man. Holy crap.
Wow.
Whoa. All right.
Tell me more.
No, I'm just kidding. No hate with the X-Files. They're great. Sue, do you have any thoughts on somebody that would make a great Vorta,
I'm trying to think
man
of
or
somebody
woman?
who I would call old school, which is around the beginning of the universe, the Big Bang. To some of you, I guess. I was thinking of somebody like Carol Burnett or somebody like that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I almost thought like,
I gotta think
Gary
about-
Combs, he plays everybody, and then I was like, oh no, wait, he does play Weyoun.
He's just so good at it. Sometimes he just becomes Weyoun so much.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Combs is a changeling, I think, himself.
Oh,
yeah.
I just watched Reanimator the other night, and he is insanely great in that too. Oh my goodness.
You know, another one, Star Trek actor, again, they just have the best actors. Cirroc, you mentioned him earlier in this episode. Andy Robinson could probably pull off a good Vorta too.
I had to close the door.
Because he kind of has that smarmy feel too. What do you think, Cirroc? Any thoughts on a good actor to play a Vorta?
Yes, absolutely. I have several of them. My first pick is another Jeff. I'm going to say Jeff Goldblum. You got it. He has that. I think he has that little bit of charm, that little bit of like mystery about him where you don't really, he can play that really well. And he's also like this negotiator type of, let me see if I can get a good deal out of something. So I would put Jeff Goldblum as a really good Vorta.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was thinking that, I thought also that I would like to see Danny DeVito as a Ferengi.
That's amazing.
I want to watch this show.
Man.
With his limoncello or whatever it is that drink that he.
Yum.
Yeah. Cool. Perfect. With his Nescafe, you know.
Scott, what do you think? Do you have any names to throw in the hat?
I had one that led to another because I was thinking back to some people that have been in other non-DS9 Star Trek shows. And if you remember, I don't remember the name of it, but the Voyager episode that everybody hates with the clown in it. The guy that had
yes.
and they get
Lenny.
in that Matrix machine. His name is Mike McKeon, actually, yeah. And he also plays Jimmy's brother on Better Call Saul. And I think that he's got...
Yes, he does.
He's got this gravitas that's like, I don't know if he's about to just, smash me or whatever. And then I started thinking about it, and then Bob Odenkirk popped up because of Better Call Saul. Like, what better kind of conniver type Slytherin, complete Slytherin, other than Saul Goodman, could possibly be? Great voice.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. And the fellow, Michael, I forgot his name already, but McKeon, he also played Lenny of Lenny and Squiggy fame on Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, right.
I grew up hearing about him because my dad went to high school with him, and when he came up on Voyager, that's how I came up on Star Trek because of my dad, because our personalities are Star Trek drew us together pretty much. And when he popped up in that episode, and it was just insanity the whole way. He's like, "Oh, I went to high school with him. Oh my God, it's Mike. He used to blah blah blah." So it was always a fun callback with him.
Oh, cute.
And I didn't want to show him Better Call Saul though, because that's not Dad's type of show. But
Scott,
good one though.
I just got that behind you is the Ramones. I'm thinking that's driving me.
Greatest band in the world, right there. It's my prized possession. I've got everybody's signature on it too. So and that's my third favorite album from them. So that's probably I love some Ramones.
I'm looking at it. I'm thinking I know who that is. I just can't think of it.
Oh yeah, Rocket to Russia. It's gorgeous and I put it
who's
to when I come in the door. I could see it on it.
The guy right there, the top hat on your.
Oh, that's a drawing I did of Robert Johnson. I did it a few years ago.
Guitarist.
I love the.
Oh.
Yeah, the whole mythos of Robert Johnson and the Crossroads and being the greatest blues guitarist of all time. And I started out, and I originally drew it on a little index card because I'm much more, I'm better at drawing smaller stuff. And then that one was one of the ones that I actually had challenged myself, and I liked it enough. I slapped it up there. So he's hanging out with Black Flag and Ramones. So
nice.
I like that.
Good bands.
Sorry to interrupt.
I know Robert Johnson can always interrupt.
Ooh.
Yes, he can.
TJ, did we get one from you?
No. I got a couple. One of them's out there, so I'm gonna start with that one. But just think about it for a second. Dave Chappelle.
I thought of him too.
That's a good one.
I thought of that.
And we have them at conventions.
Oh man,
Dave Chappelle. You would never know behind that smile. You know, if it's genuine, fake. You know, is he on your side? Is he not? Is he joking or is he serious?
Just shut up and get your white stuff.
Y'all got any more that kept yourself white?
Yeah, y'all got any more of that? Exactly.
Oh my god!
Any more that catch yourself white? Grinding his heels on your couch.
The other one is Louise Fletcher.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Scary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott disagrees.
No, I do. I agree with you because that's what
Okay.
whenever I think of her. That's why I love her so much because I can't.
Because you hate her.
Absolutely, she did her damn job. She sure did.
She really, truly did.
On screen.
It's funny you say her name when you start grimacing.
Somebody says that. Oh.
She's so good. She's so good because she's so bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Homer, do you have one for us?
I do. I have 4.
Nice.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's what happens when I have extra time. So my apologies in advance.
No fair.
So the person who, all right, I'll just go through them. So I think the guy that played Rogad Danar and was also the initial Voyager Doctor, Jeff McCarthy, could be good as a Vorta. And then I was exploring along lines like, why are all the Vortas white? And so I thought, well, and then TJ, thank you for breaking the barrier there. And I have 3 folks that I think would be great, and it might challenge them as well, but it'd be interesting to see it on screen.
I hope you don't steal mine because I've got a few more too.
Yeah, I've got some too.
I'll lead with the one that might be stealing it. I thought Tim Russ could be great as a Vorta.
All these tall Vortas coming up.
Yep, I know. We got tall Vortas. And then also, I think Cirroc, that would be interesting to see.
Yes.
I think you'd have fun with that. And then the last one, you guys may not. What's that?
It would be fun. It would be fun. It would be a challenge.
Yeah, and you can wear the fish fin ear type thing.
My dream. My dream.
Yeah, everybody's dream.
They did a close-up on that made me think of it like that. Like everybody I'm thinking of, I'm just seeing that.
Yeah.
That piece. Yeah.
And my the last one, and these are in no particular order, is a guy I know. His name is Ato Essendo, and he was in Django Unchained, and he also was in the unfortunately short-lived sci-fi show with Hilary Swank, I think it is, and also in Altered Carbon, like the first season.
Okay.
So I think he would be good. But again, he's going to be a tall Vorta, and you kind of want them to be a bit obsequious, but maybe I think he could definitely work it. He's like 6'4", I think.
Obsequious, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yes.
First time for everything on this show.
That's a $10 word.
So I've got a few more to throw into the hat real quick because we just went around the table. You don't know who I'm going to say.
I have a feeling you're going to say the Kiva.
I want to go too.
You're going to say what?
Kiva Spasso guy from TNG. Who is named after Lolita Fajo. Remember in like Data's Too Many Toys?
Oh, okay. No, I was not going to say that. Great guess, though.
Mm.
No, when like other people were saying Star Trek people, I was like, oh, he's the
Who'd you say? Facho? What's his name?
Real name? Isn't it like
I don't think anyone knows his name offhand.
No, I do. I'm just like not remembering it. Let me check. He's in the first.
Not Fat Joe, right?
Fat Joe?
No, but I did just learn that he was named after Lolita, which is crazy.
Well, while you're looking at that, I will say the ones that I was going to say, which is Keegan-Michael Key would be, he brings everything big. You know, everything is super big reactions, big slyness. I think he could do it. Also, and they're all tall people. Also, another person that's just like, obviously he could do it is Jim Carrey. Because Jim Carrey is incredible. And
Jim Carrey.
And another one that I think might even be better than all of the ones I mentioned is Lena Headey of Game of Thrones fame, who I think is like the best actor I've seen on television in the last 10 years. And she's really good at saying things that are just 100% subtext. Like she's nothing she's saying is what she actually means, and I really like that about her. And that's great for, yeah. All right, Melissa.
Okay. So,
you've been so patient.
So I have one that's
you
wasted
your turn on me. Go ahead.
So it's Anne Marie's fault.
Sorry.
No, so Star Trek 1, I think Jerry Ryan would maybe make a good Vorta.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the other one who is not related to Star Trek, but I think could pull it off is Johnny Depp.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
He would be a good Vorta. And, not too tall.
Anybody else?
I had one more that just came to my mind, and it was like I had to look him up just to make sure his face would fit the prosthetics. And
Michael Westmore.
It is a Michael, and his drum rolls, please. Michael Chiklis.
Oh
my gosh, that's the best one.
Perfect.
Bringing it back.
You can picture it. Yep.
Nice.
You can picture it, right? He's got the light.
And he's got
so
that
good.
real thick
the light
thing.
eyes.
Perfect.
He's got the right head.
Oh man,
That's amazing.
bald Vorta to a bald Vorta. That would be really cool. Yep.
Mike. I think,
Chested Vorta.
shout out to Aaron Eisenberg. I think I stole his
Yes,
answer.
sir.
There you go.
He was whispering it in your ear.
Yeah.
He told me, he's like, say Chiklis, Michael Chiklis, say it.
I thought
He's
I also
yelling
said
it.
mention the Shield.
Yeah.
Gotta go all in.
Shield
The
is
Shield, yeah.
Gotta
Oh,
watch
bless
the
it.
Shield.
Well, that was fun.
Wait,
Any
my guy Saul Rubinek. I forgot his name.
Oh, that's it.
Saul
Yeah.
Rubinek. What else was he in?
He was in like a few episodes of Eureka, I think, and then he was in the pilot of For All Mankind. He's in a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know
know
what
him from something. And what was the character on Next Generation?
Kivas Fajo, which I just heard Larry Nemechek say actually confirmed that the guy was named after Lolita.
Right.
Like, I love
Right.
him. Like, they have like
Word.
somebody,
Yep.
when they
I
name
always
someone like
thought
evil,
that.
like Armis after someone, I'm like, I don't know that I'd be happy, like flattered if you think I'm Armis or this evil guy.
So
Also,
That
for
makes-
if I was going to do a Black Vorta, I would probably cast Leon. You might have seen him in the Five Heartbeats and the other movies like that.
That's it, just Leon? He doesn't have a last name.
Yeah, I think that's his name. I think his name is Leon. I don't think he has a last name.
But what about Cher?
Played in The
I
Temptations.
would love
Oh,
to see
she's a fabulous actress.
Yeah.
She is a fabulous actress.
Like in Mask.
Oh my God, I just saw her like
Yeah.
One Woman West Side Story.
What was the other movie she did?
Moonstruck.
Moonstruck.
Moonstruck. Yeah.
She was awesome in
Snap
that.
out of it.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Hey, Ryan, are you well?
I was.
You got that in stereo, didn't you?
All right. Well, that was fun. Yeah, the Vorta are definitely some of the most interesting aliens, and they have some of the most interesting actors playing them. I think them and the Cardassians
I forgot
are the
somebody
ones
like
who go nuts.
photoshopped a picture of you as a Vorta in the Seventh Rule group on Facebook like a
Oh,
while
yeah.
back.
I
Perfect.
think I've seen that.
Yeah, so everybody with
funny.
everybody with Photoshop skills, start Photoshopping all of us onto whatever alien you think that we should fit in.
Yes.
Don't open that door, man. Don't open
Melissa's
that door.
a Cardassian.
Yeah.
Homer's a Bolian, no doubt.
Lucky.
All right. We got to run, but thank you all so much for joining us. Anne-Marie, Melissa, Homer, TJ, Sue, and Scott. Thank you all very much at home for joining us, and we will catch you next time. Until then, always remember the 7th rule.